points and essentially like...
This is what you need, a dot point.
Yeah, don't remember
A dot point's important. And that's our cue there. When the music's off, we can go on. And you're with Martine on the Lake Mac Live Show. This is the Saturday Sports Edition. And it is a school holiday, so I love bringing in people who are doing things with kids. And I have the lovely Paul with me from Coders Corner. I love the name because it implies that it's a safe place to do fun things, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely, Martine, that's correct. It took us a little bit of time to find the name Coders Corner, but I'm really happy that we found Coders Corner.
You did a good job with that.
Yeah, thank you.
So how did Coders Corner come about?
So Coders Corner essentially came about as a kind of natural progression from what I was doing. So I was studying information technology at Macquarie University, learning all about coding and software and applications and all that stuff. And I had just finished studying teaching at Newcastle Uni.
Wow.
And so,
you've been busy.
Yeah, for sure. And it was kind of a natural progression of those two skills that I thought, why don't I just merge these two into something that could benefit the kids and children and adults of tomorrow. Yeah.
Tell me, because what is the $1 million question, what is coding? What is coding? Tell me as a mum of kiddies who this is what they talk about all the time, coding.
Yeah. That's a loaded question, but I'll try my best to summarize it as simple as possible. So coding, you could think of it as a set of instructions that a computer follows in order to carry out commands. So if you want a computer to do anything, you write a piece of code and that's an instruction that the computer will then follow. So if you want, so think of software as a big sheet of instructions that a computer will follow over and over again and keep doing those instructions over and over again in order to achieve the results you want. That's as best as I can describe.
That's described it really well, actually. So why is this important for kiddies? Do we need this in a new skill set? Is it a new skill set? Do we need it now? Do our kiddies need it? What's happening?
Absolutely, yes. I'd say we definitely need it, especially in the future job market, particularly. Everything's becoming automated and we have so many new jobs and existing jobs where coding and programming isn't just a wanted skill, but a necessary skill. And kids today don't necessarily know those skills, or if they do, they aren't taught it in a way that's interesting and engaging and kind of pushes them to learn more, I guess.
And kids are quite interested in this. I know I've got a 10-year-old, and of course my 13, 14-year-old boys are right into it, really interested in it. But my 10-year-old girl is really quite interested in it. So it's from quite a young age that kiddies are interested in it, and it's becoming part of their world as much as we say, get off the iPad, get off the computer. This is very much part of their world now.
Yes, so in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I believe that the earlier you start learning programming and coding, the better, because kids have these amazing spongy brains where they can learn these incredibly complicated logic routines and all that with the snap of fingers, I guess. Whereas when you get older, it becomes harder and harder to start learning these concepts. So the earlier you start, the better, I guess, Martine.
And kiddies are also interested. So you want to get kiddies. You're telling me this is going to be important with jobs, with industry coming up.
Absolutely.
And we want it to be interesting for kiddies. It's not really mainstream in schools yet. I mean, they are learning bits and bobs around, but it's not a mainstream subject at the moment.
Yeah, so one of the really important things that I came away from my teaching degree with was I kind of discovered at the schools that I'd done placement at, there was a few information technology classes being taught there, and they were all they were called computer classes or similar to that. And literally all they were was the kids would go into a big computer room and they would learn how to make a PowerPoint thing. Or there were some classes that were a bit more involved than that, but I'm talking more about actually learning to create software and learning to be able to control a computer and it's just not necessarily.
I know again from my kiddies, we've put them through courses and workshops during the school holidays to refresh skills, build an interest in a fun environment, be with other kids that are also interested in this, and also from being a parent as well. When you have all these new upcoming things, it can be a bit bewildering, a bit overwhelming. You don't know what's important, what isn't.
Yeah,
so that could be a bit confusing. So Coders Corner, you now have a workshop.
So we have a workshop coming up on the 24th of October.
Excellent.
That's the Wednesday after this coming Wednesday.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so it's very, very, very soon.
That came quick.
Yeah, it did. It just snuck up on us all.
Yes, yeah. One minute you were riding the course, and the next minute you've got kiddies turning up.
Yeah. So the workshop is more of an information day. It's aimed at the kids, but also the parents. So definitely, if you're thinking of coming along, bring along yourself and your kids.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's part information day, part workshop, and
love it.
You'll be able to ask all your questions there. And
And where is it?
So it's headquartered at UnrealVR in Charlestown's headquarters.
Paul, that is my favourite place in the world.
Yes, it is pretty good. I love name dropping them around because everyone loves it.
I love it. And I know because the guys have come on here a few times because they're doing amazing stuff on UnrealVR because they've got people with disabilities coming in and really engaging in a virtual world. We've got people who haven't walked before, who are up and walking in their virtual world, people flying planes and everything. People love this. But they're also really getting into the educational bit. So they've obviously invited you along to get in there and have some of these workshops and get the kids engaged, because you need an engaging environment, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And Coders Corner came about partly because UnrealVR was hosting quite a few schools in their premises, and we just thought, why don't we take this to the next step and actually start teaching classes? And because I had some experience teaching and also was studying IT at the time, which I've now finished, it was kind of this natural progression where I thought, why don't I just open my own business and we help each other, and UnrealVR and Coders Corner help each other out.
And I can imagine as well there'd be a lot of, being a mum of two teenage boys who are really into this stuff, to hear from someone who's not mum and dad, who's not old and fuddly, who's quite young and funky.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's right. And to hear about the industry and because now obviously you work in the industry. What do you do for the moment?
At the moment, I'm working at a company called eWave in Sydney as an applications engineer.
Wow.
And so my job is essentially kind of fixing people's problems.
Look, we all fix people's problems, just in different ways, don't we? Yeah, there's a job for all of us everywhere.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So, but for a lot of these kiddies, they're not aspiring for a software or software engineering type role. I mean, this coding is coming into normal everyday jobs, much like, my parents didn't need admin skills. Now, that admin skills are part of, you have to be a plumber, you've got to have admin skills, you've got to know how to email and things like that. And now you're talking about the next generation of jobs is going to be a bit more complicated than that, and you're going to need to know some of these skills.
Yeah, it's going to be an expected skill to have in the next few years. For especially the kids of today, it's going to be an expected skill by the time they reach adulthood.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and it's such an important skill, and it's such a fun skill. That's something that's being left out as a lot nowadays. Is coding is literally for everyone. Everyone can learn coding, and it's so fun. The first time you write a program and you make a computer say "Hello World," it's probably the best feeling you can have, because you made something do that, and that's pretty beautiful, I think. And kids love it as well. They get to make these fun applications and fun games, and in our classes, which start term 1 next year, term 1 of the school year, I should say, next year, they'll be learning how to make their own applications and games, and they'll be able to take that home with them and learn at home and like figure this all out. And it's such a fun, rewarding experience for everyone, I think.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story back way before you were born. But my dad is in the IT industry. When I say my dad is in the IT industry, it was when computers were in the size of this room. You know, it had its own room, the computer, and my dad was away a lot for work all over the world, doing his research and development, and he had at home for us. We had very early stages, and I'm talking in the early 80s, of talking over Messenger to each other. So I could talk to him, and he was overseas. It was before the web was really the web. But he taught me how to code the game of tennis. Do you remember that?
Like Pong,
Pong.
Pong.
Yeah, those two. Yes, this is back in the early 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was my party trick for a long time.
That
I could code some Pong. But unfortunately, technology blew me apart, and I could no longer participate in that. But gee, I'd love to know how I can refresh my Pong skills.
Yeah, absolutely. You can come along to the workshop Wednesday 24th.
Wednesday 24th. What time is it?
So it starts at 5 o'clock.
Perfect.
Yep. And it goes for 2 hours, and we'll finish at 7, obviously. And
sounds great. How can we get onto it? Because I know you have a Facebook site there, and you have an event that you can book through there.
So
how else can people?
At the moment, the registering is all through Facebook, but you can send Coders Corner Newcastle at gmail.com an email, and I can help you register for.
Okay. Coders Corner Newcastle at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Or get onto your Facebook page and have a look there.
Yeah, it'll be the first post you see on my Facebook page. I pinned it to the top, so you can't really miss it.
There you go.
Yep.
And if you're really clever, it could then dial it into your calendar.
Yeah, absolutely.
See?
Yeah, I did that earlier. Yeah.
I'm on the
I was
ball.
very, very proud of myself.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you coming in and letting us know what you're up to and how you can get onto some of the new coding, and also for parents and caregivers and grandparents, I would say, come along and have a listen to what is going on in the kids' world, because I think that's really important to do. To do that, to know that.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for a great song for you. I don't know if you know this one. It's Pseudo Echo, Funky Town. Do you know this one?
I've probably heard of it.
You're going to love it, though.
I'm going to love it.
You're going to love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.